Peace. Um, Thank you for tuning in. Um, since the last time you and I spoke, my goodness, I only expected something like 1,000 people to, maybe tune in, and I looked and it was like more than 5,000 people. I was like, whoa, more than 5,000 people have seen this video, and in one day, it jumped from 5,000 to 6,000. So currently, there's almost 7,000 people who have seen this video. Um, I'm very excited about that. I mean, we're talking about 7 times more than I thought it was going to be. So that's very exciting. Um, I've read some of your comments. I did send that video about that one comment before. I'm not going to go into that because this is happy occasion. I want to talk about some things that I saw in heaven. Um, So, some of you have made comments and stuff. You said, well, you don't know how to tell a story, and you talk too slow, and this and that, and this and that. You're looking at your notes, and I don't believe you, and this and that, and this and that, and that's perfectly fine. Um, I apologize for that, um, but this is basically just me just giving my testimony about things that I saw. Like I, printed out. I said, I'm not a storyteller. Um, I'm not a preacher. I am not a Bible scholar. I'm just simply a man who loves God, who studies the Bible, and I'm just trying to do the right thing the best way I know how. Um, I'm not looking for any publicity. I am an introvert for the most part. Um, but like I said before, this thing has been weighing on me for a long time, so I had to tell you. I had to. I just couldn't go on any longer, especially knowing what I know and seeing the things that I've seen, and I just couldn't go on without telling you what was going on. I love you all, people. I really do. I love you from the bottom of my heart. Um, and I don't want to see anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't want to see anybody suffering. I don't want to see anybody arguing. I don't want to see anybody in pain. I want to see people happy. That's what I want to see. That's why I can't wait until kingdom comes. I want to see people. I want to see people like they're in heaven, like what's going on up there. And I'm gonna get to that. I want to see down here like what's going on up there. Okay, because I'm telling you right now, man. They whoosh, man. It's man. Look, let me tell you something. Um, uh, uh, I sometimes I pause because I'm trying to I'm trying to put my thoughts in perspective, because you have to remember there's a whole lot of things that I learned that you know I and I'm trying to remember them all and put them all into a storybook form as I'm going along. There was one guy who made a comment, and he said something like, he said, well, this guy, I'm sitting here looking down at his notes and this and that and this and that, and he's looking down at, well, I didn't have any notes. Okay, I don't know what that was all about, but I didn't have any notes. But more than likely I will in the near future, because I'm going to have to list, things that I want to talk about, things that I want to get out. So I probably will in the very near future, have some notes written down. Uh, since you mentioned that, uh, and I told you, I have been, since the last time, I have been back and forth from heaven. So this is no hallucination. So I am rest assured, you're probably not because you're not me and you don't know, but rest assured for me that I have been assured that this is not a dream, this is not a hallucination, and this is very, very, very real. And yes, I have been back and forth from heaven since the last time you and I spoke. Uh, one of the things one of the people that I have actually talked to before uh, uh, was King David. And King David is in heaven, and one of the things that he had told me, now this is before he told me, he said, he told me to write down, pretty much everything. He said, write it down, whatever he says. He told me, he said, you will forget 60% of what you learn if you don't write it down. That's what he said. So, okay, all right. So every time, I think of something, I try to, I'm trying to jot it down and just sort of, remember what it is, because there is so much to God and to what's going on. There are so many different avenues that you can go into. There are so many intricacies that you can very, very easily forget because of all of the things that are going on, all the things that are happening. But in some cases, it's the little small, little detail things that you don't want to forget these things that happen. So I didn't write anything down then at that time, but I will in the very near future. You might see me looking at some notes, and I'm just being honest about it. Okay, um, I, I don't um, I don't have a 13-year-old mind, a 16-year-old mind. I'm a 51-year-old man. I'm not a real old, but I'm 51. And I don't know if that means anything or not, but I know that sometimes I have to write things down to remember what it is that I want to get out. So that as they say is that. Um, the uh, the people in heaven and the things that I want to get to. There was a lady who contacted me, and I was talking about, people in heaven and things like that. Now this woman, she tells me, she says she was all hyped up, and she says, "Oh, did you see my mother?" She said, "I love my mother so much, and I miss her so much. Can you please tell me what's going on with my mom and this and that and this and that?" And I'm like, I don't know your mother, and I didn't know how to respond to that one. I'm like, okay, well, lady, I said I can only tell you about, what's going on, and it's like as far as me trying to bring back, and take messages back and forth. I said, I can't, I can't do that. I said because number one, if I do it for you, I have to do it for everybody, and that can be overwhelming, especially as fast as this thing is growing. But this is what I will tell you. Um, is that the people in heaven, um, they can see you. Okay, your loved ones that are in heaven, they can see you, and they miss you and they love you. And when you get there, uh, there are going to be people that you are going to see, that you are going to meet, who you may not know, you never seen before, ever in your life, but they know absolutely everything there is to know about you. Okay? They know absolutely everything there is to know about you. And in some cases, somebody may walk up to you and hug you and not want to let you go. Okay? They will walk up to you and hug you and not want to let you go. Having had said that, I want to get into something that happened to me, something I was absolutely blessed with. And I don't know what I did to deserve such a blessing. And I can only imagine that part of um, what has happened to me is so that I can bring this message to you to let you know that your loved ones are with the Creator and they are waiting on you. That your separation for the people that you care about is only temporary. I hope and pray that um, you can find some comfort in knowing that the people that you care about, that they're in heaven and they're waiting on you. When you die, when you die, and this is so very, very important that you get this. People say, when you die, you can't take all your money with you, and you die, you can't take this with you, when you die, you can't take that with you. Well, obviously that's true. But this is what you can take. When you die, what you can take with you is the love that you feel for the people on this earth, for the people in heaven. You take that with you when you go. Okay? Which is one of the reasons, and when I learned that, I realized that the relationships and the bonds that we form when we are on this planet, the lives and things that we touch, those are the most important things in life. That is the only thing that you take with you when you leave here. So if you have lived your entire life on this planet and you have never established a meaningful relationship with anyone, and no one misses you when you leave, no one at all, man, that's not good. And we have to be better people. This is one of the reasons why it is so important that we treat each other with love, honesty, and respect. I'm hoping and praying that even this video, maybe some of you might say one day, hey, look, I really liked, listening to that guy talk, and, I really learned a lot, and hoping one day that, I'm hoping I get to see my parents like he said, and all this. Well, having had said that, let me tell you what happened to me. And this is something that is very, very true, you all. I got to see my parents. I got to see my parents. And I'm just hoping I can hold myself together here, because I'm a man. I don't. Men don't get like that. This is a man. I'm a man. All right, but I got to see my parents, and I saw my mother, and she looked like she was 35 years old. And there are laws, even with me having, going there are certain laws and things that you have to follow. You're not supposed to commune with the dead, and that's true even for me, even when I go there. So I have to be very, very careful about how I interact when I get there, because it's very, very true that you have to follow certain laws and things when you go there. But my mother, she got very emotional. She gets very emotional, and I had to keep myself together, because again, it was just very, very difficult for me. And I held my mother. One day, And I also saw my dad. Excuse me. I saw my dad, and I ran up to him and I hugged him, and I didn't I didn't want to let him go. I didn't I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to let him go. Excuse me. I didn't want to let him go. And I it was real hard for me. But it just the idea of me seeing my parents and knowing that where they are, and knowing that I can go back and forth to see them from time to time, or that hopefully I'll get to see them again. All of that just took a weight off of me that you just wouldn't believe. It's like it's unbelievable, man. It's absolutely incredible. It took. I don't miss my parents like I used to, and you know I mean, who gets to see their parents after the parents have been dead for more than 10 years? But I got to see my parents. And I don't know what I did to, to, to get a blessing like that. I don't know what I did to get a blessing like that, but it was definitely a blessing for me to be able to see my parents and walk up to my father and hug him. I I wish that was something that I could share with all of you all. I'm hoping and praying that you all take something from this, and take from this the fact that it is true that your parents are there, your loved ones are there, and they are waiting on you, and they love you. And I just wish that there was someone someone who may have had the same experience, that they could tell you as well, that being separated from your parents is a temporary thing. Being separated from your loved ones is a temporary thing, and you will get to see your loved ones again. I There was another situation I wanted to share you all with share with you, and that was the fact that a while back I promised God that I would go and see this particular friend of mine. He was an old man, and I was busy doing whatever it was I was doing. I guess working and doing whatever, and you know, um, a day turned into a month, and a month ended up turning into 6 months, and 6 months turned into a year. And so one day, something triggered. I was like, "Oh my goodness, I never went to go see this guy." And I said, "Okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go see him tomorrow." And I got in my car and went over to see him. I hadn't been into his house in a long time, and I hadn't been in his house. I hasn't been in his house in years, in a few years. And when I pull up to his house, I noticed that, excuse me, I noticed that his house was not as well kept as it usually is. And his grass, he's very meticulous about his front yard, and that his front yard wasn't as well kept as it usually was. And I was a little shocked. I said, because I've known this man, I said, he ain't never kept his yard like that. Well, when I went and I knocked on the door, his daughter answered, and I told her, I said, I'm saying, I'm here to see your dad. And she told me, she said, what? She said, Dad died a while back. And I said, what? She said, yeah. She said, Dad died a while back. I said, what do you mean he died? I said, how come nobody called me? I knew the whole family. So how come nobody never called me? I don't even remember what she said. I was just so upset that I just left, and I got in my car, and I cried, and I hollered, and I screamed, and I called out Yahweh's name, and I told him, I said, Father, I said, I am so sorry that I was begging and pleading with him and saying that I was so sorry that I didn't keep my promise to him. This man died, and I told him I didn't mean for this to happen, and I am please forgive me, Father. I didn't mean for this to happen. And I just couldn't stop crying about it because I felt so bad, so guilty, and I just kept putting it off, and life got in front of me, and I went and I tried to contact some of the people that knew him, and this one man told me that he says he was sick for a while, um, and his son had taken care of him, was taking care of him. And I told Yahweh, I said, Yahweh, I said, if somebody would have just called me and told me that he was sick, I said, I would have helped take care of him. I said, I just didn't know. I said, I didn't know. I said, I'm sorry, Father. I just let things get in front of me, and I just didn't know. I am so sorry. I said, I am so sorry. I said, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I can't keep my promise to you. I promised you I was going to go see this man, and I didn't go see this man. I said, I don't know what's going to happen. I said, I am so sorry. I said, I didn't mean for this to happen. And so a few days later, let me tell you about this God that we serve and tell you how incredible He is. A few days later, Yahweh took me to see this man. I kid you not. Yahweh took me to see this man so that I could keep my promise to him. And he allowed me just this brief moment with this man, and I didn't want to waste no time. I told her, I love you. And that's all I said to him. And then I left. I had to go. Now, I don't know what God you serve, you know, but what I can tell you about my experience with the God named Yahweh, there is no other God for me. A God that can do something like that and who's willing to do something like that and to take me to meet this man so that I can keep my promise to him. Do you realize how incredible that is? But that's what he did for me. Well, all I can tell you is that all I can tell you is Yahweh is my God. I hope and pray that this helps you. I hope and pray that it helps the young lady that contacted me about her mom. And the message for today is seek the kingdom of Yahweh and make it to heaven. Do the right thing. Follow the law, statutes, judgment, and commandments of Yahweh in the Old Testament Bible to start. And let's all go to heaven so we can all be there smiling, being happy with each other, and enjoying each other. Because I want for everybody to have the experience that I had. And I hope and pray that one day you have that experience too. Yahweh loves you. Yahweh Ben Yahweh loves you. And so do I.